Maria was heartbroken when she received a notice demanding payment. Or she faced eviction from the nursing home. This chain of misfortunes began to unravel when her health deteriorated, forcing her to depend on her children for support, rather than caring for her. They chose to place her in a nursing home. Furthermore, they persuaded Maria to entrust them with her financial affairs. A decision she made in good faith, believing they would act in her best interest. Unfortunately, they did the exact opposite, leaving Maria enraged and determined to hold them accountable. As her health continued to decline, Maria felt increasingly abandoned each day, haunted by the belief that her children had neglected her, which filled her with immense sadness and despair. Uncertain of her next steps, her situation took a turn for the worse. In a desperate attempt to understand what had happened to her finances, Maria reached out to her lawyer. The revelation from her attorney that her savings were completely depleted was a brutal blow. Determined to confront her family, Maria faced significant challenges in reaching her children. Her attempts to contact them were met with silence. They seemed to actively avoid her calls. After leaving several messages and waiting days without a response, it became clear to Maria that they were deliberately ignoring her. The situation escalated when Maria received an eviction notice, which further exacerbated her declining health. Feeling utterly betrayed and unsupported, she didn't know where to turn for help or whom to trust. However, one thing was clear to her. She was resolved to hold her children accountable for their actions. Her resolve only strengthened when, in an attempt to locate her children online, she discovered they were posting pictures of themselves on a lavish vacation abroad. This stark contrast between their luxurious lifestyle and her dire situation fueled her determination to seek justice against them. Maria felt exploited, suspecting her funds were being misappropriated for a trip, prompting her to take immediate action, believing it to be unlawful. In a desperate move, she decided to involve the police. Due to her deteriorating condition, Maria was fortunate to have her friend, a nurse named Wendy, assist her to the station. She confided the shocking details to Wendy, who was visibly shaken by the revelations. At the police station, Wendy assisted Maria into the building, where Maria relayed her ordeal to the receptionist. The receptionist quickly fetched an officer to hear Maria out. However, there was a complication. Maria had legally authorized access to her finances through a signed document. The police captain, Mike, overhearing the conversation, intervened just as another officer was dismissing Maria. He assured her that they would thoroughly investigate her situation and urged her to recount everything from the start. Maria explained her once blissful retirement life was upended following her husband's death, leading her to depend more on her children. They had promised to look after her well. However, her health began to decline rapidly. Captivated by her story, Captain Mike felt uneasy as Maria continued, describing how her condition worsened after being persuaded by one of her children to have a doctor prescribe new medications. From there, her situation deteriorated as she was convinced she needed constant care, despite her initial reservations, and her strength continued to wane. Listening to her children, Maria found herself needing even more medication, as her offspring suddenly appeared overly concerned. However, during her narration to Mike, he scribbled down notes, suspecting foul play. Just before her move to the nursing home, Maria had over $1 million. which had now mysteriously disappeared. At a crucial moment in her story, Maria recounted a day of rest at home when she was startled by a knock at the door. It was her daughter, Sophia, accompanied by several others, informing her of her immediate transfer to a nursing home and that she would no longer control her finances. Her children would handle everything, the nurses reassured Maria. But she resisted leaving her home. To her dismay, Sophia had also brought someone to sell her property. Overwhelmed, Maria wept uncontrollably. Mike, realizing the gravity of the situation, understood this was a deliberate plot by her children. Maria, now penniless and heartbroken, told Mike she had lost everything important to her and felt utterly helpless. Mike relayed her story to his colleagues, who promised swift assistance, though he feared it might be too late. The ordeal proved too much for Maria, who collapsed from the stress while at the police station. An ambulance was immediately called, and she was rushed to the nearest hospital, with Mike following closely. After Maria regained consciousness, he assured her that they would uncover the truth. The police chose to reach out to the children to discuss Maria's situation and inform them about the ongoing investigation. Despite the officers' encouragement to cooperate and even visiting their home, the children did not engage. It became apparent that they were enjoying a lavish lifestyle, which seemed too convenient to be mere coincidence. As time was critical due to Maria's worsening health, Mike was eager to increase scrutiny on the children. However, he was heartbroken to learn from the hospital that Maria had died. This unfortunate news meant that it was likely her children might escape accountability for their actions. Although the police had yet to secure concrete evidence against them, Mike was determined not to surrender. He crafted a strategy, sending the children a message about their mother's death, hoping it might cause them to let their guard down. He also hoped their presence at the funeral might reveal more about their behavior. When the funeral day arrived, Mike chose to dress inconspicuously to blend in, rather than appearing as an agent. To his astonishment, none of Maria's children appeared at the funeral. It seemed as if indifference prevailed until Maria's attorney dispatched a letter regarding the inheritance to Allure's office, prompting the children to finally assemble. The lawyer suspected their sudden interest stemmed from a belief that there was more to gain from Maria. He phoned Mike to inform him that everyone was present in the office. Mike was thrilled, seeing this as his opportunity to confront Maria directly. Maria's lawyer continually delayed the children, buying time for Mike and several officers to get there. However, Maria's eldest son, David, began to grow suspicious, persistently questioning the delays. He was eager to learn about his potential inheritance. Eventually, the lawyer relented and began to disclose the details of the inheritance and Maria's final will, with everyone listening intently, akin to predators ready to strike. As the lawyer proceeded to read the will, intentionally prolonging the process and articulating each word, more of the children grew visibly frustrated, sensing that something was amiss, though they couldn't pinpoint exactly what. Impatient and agitated, David stood up and confronted the lawyer, threatening to leave if he didn't get clear answers. Shocked by his outburst, the lawyer had never witnessed such extreme behavior. These children were beyond control, trying to restore order. The lawyer finally calmed everyone down and revealed that they would receive nothing, leaving them utterly stunned by this revelation. Or perhaps they were merely feigning surprise. Soon after, David and Sophie suspected a setup. Abruptly, the doors burst open and police officers rushed in. Taken aback, Maria's children feigned innocence. But David panicked and fled. Mike, alongside his officers, immediately gave chase. They were resolute in their decision to prevent his escape. He was clearly escaping for a significant reason. Yet they needed to capture him first. After an hour-long pursuit, they finally caught him. They removed all the children. But David continued to resist. His reluctance to be detained raised further suspicions. The others remained mostly silent and uncooperative. Each child was interrogated individually, with Mike showing particular interest in Sophie and David due to their notably suspicious behavior. He had a critical advantage yet to be disclosed later that day. The children remained tight-lipped, appearing to have pre-agreed to withhold information. Attempts by the officer to emotionally sway them were futile until a breakthrough occurred. The youngest child, Anna, suspected of being involved in some wrongdoing concerning Maria's health, began to cry. This signaled to Mike that they were making progress. Meanwhile, a review of their financial records revealed a recent substantial transfer of funds by the two eldest children, making David and Sophie the primary suspects. Mike believed he could leverage the youngest, Anna, to uncover the truth. After several hours, Mike managed to reach her with a revelation meant only for her ears. Upon learning a deep secret from Mike, one concerning him and Maria, Anna turned noticeably pale and chose to cooperate. With the secret revealed by Mike, she felt compelled to disclose everything. What was about to unfold was unexpected. Anna confessed to Mike that upon realizing their mother possessed a considerable sum of money, she felt a mixture of relief and concern, especially after their father's death. They began to observe that Maria was indulging in a more opulent lifestyle to better utilize her wealth. This prompted David and Sophie to devise a scheme. Under David's leadership, the siblings convened, and he persuaded them that if they allowed their mother to continue her extravagant habits, they would ultimately inherit nothing. They felt compelled to act to secure their futures financially. David formulated a strategy, in collaboration with Sophie, to increase their mother's dependency on them. The first step involved convincing Maria that her health was deteriorating and that she required special care. This tactic was successful because Maria trusted that her children had her best interests at heart. Once David and Sophie gained control of her finances, they were shocked by the substantial amount of money Maria had accumulated and not disclosed to them. They felt betrayed. Although Anna attempted to intervene, it was too late. They were initially relieved at Maria's passing. But then Mike delivered a shocking revelation. He gathered all the siblings and after a full confession from them, he expressed that he no longer needed anything from them. He had them exactly where he wanted. At that moment, someone entered the room, causing everyone's jaw to drop. And I even passed out. It was as if they had seen a ghost. Maria entered, grinning broadly with her nurse by her side. David immediately realized his mistake. They were all confused about the situation. But Maria was clearly enjoying herself. Knowing she had the upper hand, they demanded an explanation. And Maria began to reveal that after informing Police Captain Mike about her findings regarding their actions, she had ceased taking her medication. Together, they devised a plan to teach them a profound life lesson and secure a significant payoff. She continued to feign weakness, and Mike, along with other officers, emphasized her vulnerability. Ensuring her safety was paramount under all conditions while they investigated the children's next moves. Then, she subtly signaled to someone outside the room. And everyone was shocked when her lawyer entered. Apparently also unaware of the entire situation. He delayed the proceedings until they eventually provided something actionable to the agent. David Stoddard then brought up the topic of the funeral, which was actually orchestrated by the police to determine if the children would show up. The invitation was extended solely to the children to discern whether they were all complicit or if some were out of the loop. The lawyer then explained that while one could completely disinherit their children, this would grant the state special powers to ensure they received nothing, leaving them powerless in the situation. Then, Maria delivered a staggering blow by deciding to sue all her children for the money they had stolen. Initially, they protested but soon realized resistance was pointless and remained silent. Subsequently, they were all imprisoned and fined, required to return the stolen $1 million to Maria, ultimately inheriting nothing from her. This harsh reality taught them that life is not solely about money. A lesson Maria hoped would resonate deeply with her children. After watching the story above, do you have any thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. If you enjoyed our video, please like, subscribe, and share our channel. That's all about today's stories. See you next time.